Okay, so now that we've added the ability to create a role, in our actual application we should be able to see the roles that we create and be able to go to the administration page without having to just enter it in the URL. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to gain the ability to actually see a list of our existing roles. So in order to do that, let's modify the following view. Or create the following view. Let's create a view in administration folder called index.cshtml. So we'll create it and click add. This is going to be the view in which a list of all our actual roles will be shown. Next, let's go to our controller, the administration controller, and make it so a list of all existing indexes are returned to our index page. As you can see, the controller already created a default index action method. So all we have to do in order to return the roles is the following. Get it from the role manager, the roles, all the roles, and then in our view, as a parameter, we'll pass in the roles variable. And that's it. Now our view has access to this actual object. So now let's go back to our index and add the actual Razor code and HTML in order to allow us to display these roles. So let's state what we're receiving from in the view. We're receiving an IEnumerable of roles. That is what this object type that's returned from underscore role manager roles is. It's an IEnumerable of roles. And we will call this application role because that's the type of role we'll get back. And ta-da, now we have access to it. Next, we're going to change the title to list of roles. And I guess we'll just display it in here. Okay, now let's create the code. So we'll check and see if there are any roles returned. So model.any, and the model refers to the IEnumerable at the top. And if there are actual roles returned from the database, display the following. So we're creating a button, and we're going to style it. And we're going to say this button will take us to, this is the create role button. So if we, at the top of our list of roles page, we're going to have the option, a button that will allow us to navigate to the create a new role page. So we're specifying the controller, and now the action. And that action will be create role. Okay, there's our button. Now we're going to iterate through the actual roles. So var role and model. So we're using a for each to look at each element in the actual model. And for each of them, we're going to print out the following. We're going to create a new div tag. Header. This is a bootstrap class. And I'm going to specify the role ID at role.id. This is not a pretty role configuration page, but it'll do the job. If you know a little bit of HTML, you could probably make it much much more visually appealing. But all the functionality is there to accomplish what we need, which is create and list the roles. And ASP action equals. Let's create another button that allows us to edit it later, but we're not going to actually implement that yet. So we'll create an empty tag here, call it edit role. That's also a button. So now we'll have actual role displayed for each of the roles. We have the role ID as well as, I guess, the role name. So we didn't put that in. Div class card body, and role name is role.name. Okay, and that's it. So now we have a page that will display all the roles that we have in our database and have created up to this point. So let's take a look and see if it's behaving like we expected. Slash index. So our page loaded. So let's go to the index page. And ta-da! We have a role name admin, and our HTML looks a little bit funky. It's probably because something wasn't written correctly. So a class primary ASP controller, and here we go. Create role. That's the first thing that wasn't right. Is there anything else? No. So that should have corrected the actual weird layout of this, so it'll look more normal. Furthermore, let's create a navigation thing before rechecking this list of roles page to see if it displays properly. So let's add an additional navigation parameter that'll take us to the admin page. So let's go to our view shared layout, and we will add the following. Okay, and ASP controllers equal to administration, and the index is the action, and then admin. We'll call it user admin. Okay. So we made the fix. We added a new navigation element to the actual list, the main page, as you can see here. So we click on that. It'll take us to our index page. And ta-da! We have our create roles button at the top. We have the role ID, and we have a role name, and all that's left to do is implement the edit role functionality. So if we were to create a new role by using the create role page, let's see if it's implemented. Create role. Wonder why it's not displaying. Okay, I'll take a look at that, but for now we've implemented the actual list of roles page. Okay, that is all for now. And if we were to create another role, which is not currently working, I'll fix it in the next lecture, it would display another role here.